Hey, everybody. Fascinating chat today with a company that's making mobile authentication faster, quieter, and more secure by working directly with the carriers. That's Shush. Eddie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you again, Aaron.
Well, great to see you. You've come a long way since we met at MWC a couple years ago. Before that, maybe introduce yourself. What's the big idea at Shush?
Sure. I'm Eddie DeCurtis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Shush. Shush was created because, we never had a demand problem with network authentication APIs. We had a supply problem, right? There's not enough carriers. There's 1,000 mobile network operators out there, not including the MVNOs, right? And, like 33 launched something, right? So all the demand was pent up and we didn't have the carriers, and I found this hole, blind squirrel got the nut, right? Found the hole in the space, and we provide a full monetization solution for the network operators so they can launch mobile network authentication, Chimera. We're up to 47 different APIs. So yeah, it's really exciting time. Yeah.
So in simple terms, how does Shush silent authentication actually work?
So what we do is we have a full platform that we like to call Sherlock. It is, I believe, currently today the only platform that that has all 8 stable Chimera APIs. So number verify, SIM swap, location, and others, right? So there's about 8. Now I think there's 10, and we'll add those other 2. We are the only platform in the world currently today that is utilizing TS43, EAPA, AKA, or if they say Verify 2.0 using the true application ID 2015, which is what you're supposed to be using, not 2014, but that's a whole different, we can talk about that for hours. We have 47 APIs, so everything from silent network authentication, which is mobile phone number to IP matching, to header enrichment. And for a great example, we made an announcement you probably saw a couple of weeks ago, where we signed Dido, the carrier in the Philippines. And to give you an understanding on how fast we move, we signed it September 19th or 18th. We went to network integration in October. They launched, the platform's ready to launch and start making money today with 47. Well, they're going to launch 18 APIs, including all the Chimera ones. It's available today. It's shocking. No one can believe how quick we went from signature to market launch in less than 90 days.
Amazing. And just tell the basics. What does Just do that, authenticator apps or, even SMS codes aren't doing today?
So this is the new evolution of authentication. Authentication apps are great. There's a place for them. But the only place in the world to get SIM swap information is from the mobile network operator. Apple doesn't have it. Google doesn't have it. Nobody has it but the mobile operator. Well, you have to be able to expose that. Now, this is the first time in the history of mobile network operators that they're going to expose their CPNI data outside their own 4 walls. So you have to have a platform and an exposure platform to do that. So any company with some money can go out and build that technology, right? It can. And then any company can go out and, figure out that network integration piece. What do I need to make it connect to the network so I can expose those data attributes to a third party? But the biggest thing that we bring to the table, or I like to say our moat, is the business operations. Because my chief product officer is John Morrow, who came to us from T-Mobile, who ran this product from its inception to its execution from a carrier standpoint. So dealing with privacy, dealing with legal, dealing with regulatory, privacy. Privacy is at our core. So being able to deliver 3 legs of a stool, technology, network integration, and business operations to a mobile operator that has no clue on how to do this, because it's all brand new and it's only been spoken about at GSMA and others, to be able to say, hey, I can get you from signature to launch in less than 90 days, as well as a global partnership with Twilio to help accelerate the adoption of network authentication APIs, where they're going to come in and be your first customer, right? It's a win-win at no cost and zero risk to the mobile operator. You don't have to spend tens of millions of dollars on network equipment. You don't have to spend tens of millions of dollars on consultants that actually don't know they never worked inside a mobile operator. So we bring all that to the table, again, at no cost and no risk to the mobile operator. That's the major differentiator. Oh,
Amazing.
and the best in class platform. No, there's not a platform out there that can come anywhere near to what we're offering.
Incredible. And so if you're a business or enterprise, what does onboarding look like if I want to use Shush?
So well, you're not using Shush, you're a mobile operator. You're asking the mobile operator, how do I onboard? Well, we have an onboarding process. You can onboard utilizing the TM Forums onboarding APIs, or you can onboard directly. We have all the sandbox, all the code snippets, the ability to do Wi-Fi authentication, for the application. So they're always covered under the whole aspects of network authentication. Camara, we're a major supporter of the Camara effort. But the challenge is today, there is billions of dollars being spent on network authentication, right? Brands and banks have a huge lead time when they have to make changes to their applications, right? To do different things. So what we do is we say, okay, we're going to future-proof the mobile operator, and we're going to future-proof the brand for that mobile operator. So let's take Bank X does SNA, right? Well, our mobile operator can accept SNA traffic in, right? But let's say the Bank X went to Camara number verify without doing any changes at the mobile operator layer. Our mobile operators will accept that Camara request. So it's always future-proofed for both the brand side and the mobile operator, so they don't have to make massive changes. Because to get the Camara SDK loaded into an app is a heavy lift, right? So to get from point A to point B, you have to care for everything in between, and we do.
Interesting. And are you meant to replace two-factor entirely, or are you another layer, as it were?
So two-factor is going away, and you can look at Mobile Square's latest report. The OTP traffic is dropping exponentially. Brands are finding other ways of doing it. So is it a third-party app, which really is a struggle on the user experience, or is it utilizing OTT on utilizing OTP on an OTT? Say that 10 times fast, right? Doing that, right? Or is there another way of even email? How many more emails have you received with your 5-digit code or 6-digit code, right? You're starting to see more and more of that moving away from SMS. One, it was never designed to be secure. I remember when we created OTP back in the days, right? There's no price stability, right? So prices just keep changing depending on how the wind blows or who got the latest exclusivity, right? So there's challenges there. There's delivery issues, man in the middle. There's all these problems with SMS. So they're trying to find another path. That traffic's never coming back, right? So network authentication, more secure, best in class, follows all the security protocols, policies. You can't have man in the middle attacks. There's all these great positive things about network authentication that I like to tell my mobile network operator partners. This is not a replacement for OTP, because that's going away anyway. This is a new revenue stream. This is a brand new revenue stream that is actually going to be substantially larger than whatever OTP was, because we have intrinsic data. So intrinsic data is 3.2 interactions per API. So they come for, let's say, number verification, they stay for SIM swap, right? Or they stay for location, or they stay for something else. There's more than one-to-one interaction where OTP is just a one-to-one interaction. Throw it over the fence, and if the person utilizes the code, he does or he doesn't. But it's only a one-to-one. Where network authentication is Evan on the network? Yes. Did Evan do a SIM swap? No. Send Evan an SNA, silent network authentication, and allow him to access his account. All done within milliseconds. Behind the scenes, the banks, the fintechs, the brands see the value. They don't mind paying the extra uplift. You're moving up the value chain as a brand is more secure. So they're willing to pay it, as the mobile network operator is seeing greater revenue because they actually moved up the value chain. They're now offering a service that is truly monumental and secure and fraud protection that they never saw before. So it's a win-win on both sides. The mobile operator makes more money, and the brand has a more secure way of authenticating the individual.
Amazing. And how do you think about global coverage when, networks and rules are different per country or per region? How does that work?
Great question. Great question. I like to say consent is not a one-size-fits-all, right? So there's been a couple of, companies out there that, I got a great consent module. Well, that's great. However, what is allowed in the United States, which is absolutely everything, it's like the Wild West, right? Compared to what's allowed in Poland is two different things. It's not the same, right? So again, since we deal with the mobile operator directly and privacy is part of our foundation, we work with them to make sure we have a consent module in place specific for the market. So the United States has, in our telecom regulations, 47.222D. We know it by heart. It's basically no opt-in, no opt-out. It just is. As long as it's for fraud use cases, you can give or share third-party CPNI data. Okay, that's like everything, right? But that's the U.S. and some countries are like that. And then in Europe, you have Recital 47, which allows for opt-out. And then you have Poland, right? And I use Poland because it's a great example. They're part of the EU, but they have their own specific laws that sits on top of Recital 47 that doesn't allow for any of this. So what you have to do is you have to be specific for those individual countries, and we care for that. Again, since we're providing a platform for a mobile network operator, or we're providing a business in a box for a mobile network operator, you have to care for all those idiosyncrasies specific for the markets.
Amazing. So I think of you as the insider, thought leader, expert in this space. What's the biggest misconception people have, even in the industry, about mobile network-based authentication?
There's a lot of so there is a lot of I hate to use this term misinformation, but it is. You just sit there and you kind of my eye starts to twitch, and I feel like brain cells are dying, and you just really just want to blow them up on LinkedIn, and I don't do that because I just think it's not worth my energy. I think the biggest misconception is that it's difficult, right? It is difficult, but it doesn't take years to implement. Go back to Dito, go back to all my other customers, right? My other customers have not launched yet because has nothing to do with technology, has nothing to do with where up, has all to do with they're not sure how to do it, right? No matter how much it's almost to the point where they caught the bus. Now what do I do, right? And we're trying to educate them to launch as soon as possible. And then you meet people like Dito and their thought leadership, and they were like, no POC, let's get this launched, let's go, right? Let's start making money. You're starting to see more and more operators like that. remember back in the 90s, these guys were cowboys. Now they became real big businesses and they have to be really, really careful. And every now and then you find that diamond in the rough like Adidas that that will launch as soon as they're ready. That's the challenge. I think that's the biggest challenge in the industry is, and a lot of people launch Camara and they go, well, we launched Camara and no one showed up. Well, if they actually understood how Camara works, they would understand you're going to be waiting for a while, right? Because the Camara API structure that has to be loaded into the application is very cumbersome. Like I like to say, it's because what happens when a bunch of engineers get in a room and don't talk to people in the business, right? And they created an SDK that is called from the application. Well, great example, Twilio's Authy product. It already has the waterfalling built in. So you send a login use case, right? Depending on the carrier and what the carrier can offer and what the brand wants to use, they could say, if they have network authentication, use that. If it doesn't, fall back to SMS. If it doesn't, fall back to, email, let's say. That waterfalling is built in. Can't do that with Camara. It doesn't work that way. You actually call it from the application. Well, talk to a bank. Excuse me, I need you to change your security protocols on your app and load this SDK. All right, we'll see you in 6 years. Again, goes back to future proofing the brand, right? So the brand's ready. Whenever the brand's ready, the carrier's ready, right? So the carrier has all this stuff. And another example, I was talking to a mobile network operator, and they go, "We have Camara SIM swap. We've been working on number verified for the last 8 months. We can't seem to get it to work." And I kind of look at them and go, "What do you mean you can't get it to work?" Because they built their own platform, right? Like, what do you mean you can't get it to work? And they go, "Yeah, we're having challenges to get it to work." They said, "What can you do?" I said, "Well, you can launch with 8 stable Camara APIs today." They go, "What do you mean? You have them already?" I go, "Yeah. We integrate to your network. We know exactly what network elements we need to be talking to. If you have an API gateway, we can configure your API gateway for you, to make sure it's talking to the right network elements to get. You don't need any new equipment. You don't need to go buy a NAP. You don't need to go buy a SCAF. We narrowed it down to 3 network elements that all we need to talk to get all 47 APIs to work. We talk to 3 network elements, and that's it. If you have an API framework layer like an Apogee, fine. So we like to say, we talked to a couple of carriers, and they were like, "Yeah, we have Apogee, and we don't know how to configure Apogee to talk to the network." Well, there was 2 people at T-Mobile who knew how to do that. I hired one of them. So it's like, get the right experts in, right? We have them, right? We're over 30 employees now, which is amazing, right? Think about this. I sat in front of I think it was the Ericsson booth. I forgot what booth I was. You videotaped me at Mobile World Congress. So a little over a year and 8 months, I'm now at 30 employees.
Wow.
We got multiple carriers as our customers. I mean, we have just grown leaps and bounds. I did a quick story. I did a pre-seed round. I was oversubscribed and closed in 45 days when nobody was getting any money. Right? It's just been an absolute joyride. But that's the point. We have the right people, the right experts. Our head of network engineering spent 35 years not only putting these wireless networks together, but actually operating them. So he knows what an entitlement gateway is and how it works and all the pieces that need to go in there. What a UDP or an HSS or a PCRF. He knows the languages. He knows how to talk to those network engineers. So having those experts that speak the language and can do the work for the mobile network operator just, again, takes that heavy weight off their shoulders, because there's, again, a lot of, I know this is a long way to answer your question. There's a lot of misinformation or people who truly don't fully grasp what needs to happen. We can do it quick. We can do it fast. It's not that difficult. it's just a
Love
new
it.
way of doing it. Yeah.
A new way indeed. No, it's really exciting. And let me ask you about the US market. And
Hmm.
without naming names, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or mention the carriers we all know and
Hmm.
love and hate in some cases. But what's the status? Why aren't we seeing here in the
So,
US more of the technology being rolled out to consumers
so,
and businesses?
so believe it or not, T-Mobile and Verizon have been doing it for a while, and it's a pretty
Hmm.
big business. It was a big business at T-Mobile. It was all the major banks were using it. I think they need to use it a lot more. The challenge was AT&T, right? And I'm not trying to throw AT&T under the bus. There was an issue, and they had rightfully so. They had concerns about letting aggregators in, hence the $120 million location fines that they got. Now, there's a whole story behind that we can get into over a beer if you want, but it wasn't as bad. It was the third party who actually violated the terms of the agreement. At least that's the best way to describe it. Maybe it wasn't, but it was done via a third party, and we all know the players in this space. So AT&T, rightfully so, said no aggregators. Everybody needed to come direct. Well, getting a bank who has no idea how to do this or a fintech to connect directly to AT&T's network platform, right? Whatever platform they had, it's hard, right? And
Mm.
so you have less than a dozen customers where T-Mobile can have thousands of customers based on working with aggregators. My understanding, and don't quote me on this, but my understanding is AT&T has come around and come to terms with the fact that they need aggregators to grow the business. So what we like to say, AT&T has been unlocked. And I think that's just going to fuel the market because we are the platform for the CCA, right? We are the platform for the CCA Authentication Hub with our partnership with an amazing little company. Well, I don't think they're little anymore, called Clear Sky, who works really close with those tier 2, tier 3 rural CCA members, right? And our platform sits as the power behind the Clear Sky Snap solution. So a mobile network, a small operator. They made a couple of announcements. There's more behind these announcements than just the ones they already spoke about. First Cellular Northeast Arizona is a small carrier that's now connected. NTT Docomo Pacific is now connected. So, just by utilizing this Clear Sky platform powered by Shush, these small rural operators can become completely compliant, completely up and running in less than 90 days. It's super easy for them, and Clear Sky manages it from their multiple data centers in the United States. Super, super simple, great partnership, great team over there at Clear Sky. They really, really help because a lot of people forget we still have north of 60 mobile operators other than the big three, right?
Yeah,
And they
you tend to forget. Yeah.
and they still have the same requirements as the big three, right? They have to have a SIM swap solution. They have to have this. So they have all the same requirements. And Clear Sky fills that gap for us.
Fantastic. Well, so much accomplished, so much work to do. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
all the success, Eddie. Onwards and upwards.
It really, truly, and Evan, I can't thank you enough for being a huge supporter of ours. You were you were the first person I told. I'll never forget texting you going, I got something for you. I want to tell you about it.
And I don't think I understood probably 70% of what you were saying at the time, but now I do. So I've come
Yeah.
around and it really is opening a lot of eyes. Congratulations, Eddie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you again. Thank you for being a big supporter. I truly, truly appreciate it.
And thanks for being here. Thanks everyone for listening, watching, sharing the episode. And be sure to check out our TV show, TechImpact.tv, now on Bloomberg TV and Fox Business. Thanks,
Oh,
Eddie.
excellent.
Thanks, everyone.
Be well.